With the WINN FM News, I am Kevin Brown.
And I am Yulana Weeks.
Our top stories.
Saga surrounds the beach bars ordered to relocate as Ritz-Carlton prepares for construction.
St. Kitts and Nevis mourns the loss of former Governor General Sir Edmund Wickham Lawrence. Police charge George Carty for burglary. Robberies continue in the Federation as police investigate Coconut Tree Bar and Grill robbery. 3 men charged in connection with illegal cannabis operation.
4 OECS islands join forces to launch a cybersecurity and cybercrime public awareness campaign. Collaboration between the OECS Commission and the Sasakawa Peace Foundation of Japan led to the first Caribbean regional dialogue under the theme Advancing Resilient Prosperity in the Caribbean. UBEC launches training sessions to strengthen blue economy micro, small, and medium enterprises in St. Lucia.
Internationally, French government collapses as MPs vote to oust Prime Minister. Now, the details.
A brewing controversy has erupted at Friars Bay as some beach bars were ordered to vacate the area to make way for the development of a luxury resort, the Ritz-Carlton. The beach bars, which have long been a staple of the local tourism experience, are located on private land earmarked for the multi-million-dollar hotel project. A letter from the Attorney General's chambers dated August 22, 2025 had been in circulation on social media asking the beach bars to move by August 30, sparking heated discussions among residents, the business operators, and the Attorney General's chambers. On September 5, St. Kitts Nevis Attorney General Garth Wilkin discussed the matter on Freedom FM's Groundings program with Jamiela MacPhail and Ambassador Sam Conder. The Attorney General stated that the letter in circulation was a response to a letter sent by a lawyer to the Attorney General's chambers, but the response letter had been leaked. However, Attorney General Wilkin clarified that Friars Bay has never been owned by the state. It was always privately owned.
Friars Bay has never been owned by the state. It's always been private land. It was then sold, I believe, in the 80s under the Simmons administration to a gentleman who became a citizen by investment, I believe. And he owned that land at Friars Bay for many, many years. Part of Friars Bay was bought by Kittitians. Some people own lots. There is Carambola, which is owned by a Kittitian. And then the rest of the land remained owned by a private person or family.
The Attorney General revealed that the bar operators were first asked to relocate as far back as January 2018 by previous owners of the land, but some failed to comply.
A couple people over the years established beach bars on Friars Bay, on land that was owned by the individual, not on government land. The individual was selling the land, when Team Unity first went into office in the mid-teens, there was somebody interested in developing the land and buying it from the original owner. They had a couple beach bars to deal with. So the beach bars being on the individual's land, the private land, not on the beach, on the private land, entered into leases with the owner of the land. When the owner of the land was reaching to the point of selling the land, they said, okay, we're ending the leases, your leases, and this includes the persons who are complaining now, the persons who the lawyer is acting for. Okay. Signed leases. So this is January 2018. All of them got letters saying, you have rent due, which you haven't paid, and we deliver up the premises. So they didn't move.
With construction on the high-end hotel set to begin soon, the new owners of the land issued a letter asking for the bars to move. Notices from the property owners were issued to business owners in April 2025, according to A.G. Wilkin, giving them until August 2025 to vacate. But of the 3 beach bars in the discussion, 2 remain operational there. The 3 beach bars include Shipwreck Bar, Godfather Bar, and Discovery Bar.
Fast forward, there is somebody that bought the land. Now, in December, the government announced that private person has bought the lands at Friars Bay. So think about it as the lands not being Carambola, not being the corner with Carambola, all the rest of the lands at Friars Bay, and have entered into agreement with Marriott International to build a Ritz-Carlton on those lands, on part of those lands, not the entire lands. So the private owner, new owner, wrote to the bar operators, and I think there are only 2 now. There are 5 structures, but only 2 operating bars there.
Okay.
They wrote to the bar owners and said, we are building a Ritz-Carlton. We know that you got notice to quit from the previous owner in 2018. We would like you to leave by the end of August because we are going to start construction of the Ritz-Carlton on the property.
As the bar operators have engaged legal representation to challenge the eviction notices, a formal letter from the attorney representing the bar owners requested an official survey to determine whether the businesses are located on private land or on the public beach.
So what this lawyer letter was suggesting was, we're not on your land at Friars Bay, owners, developers of the Ritz-Carlton. We are on the government property. So the Attorney General office wrote a letter saying, first of all, you don't have planning permission to if you were on the beach, you don't have planning permission to be on the beach, right? You don't have the licenses to operate there. You are breaching the same act that creates public access to beach. So even though your issue is with the landowner, for which you were a tenant and now a squatter, we will not give you permission to be on the beach because the beach is only for public use, not for commercial use. You understand?
Okay.
So that is what we said. But the practice in St. Kitts and Nevis is when you know you can't win in court, you go to the court of public opinion and try to put pressure on ministers to not follow what the real rules are.
A.G. Wilkin recalled a conversation with a senior member of the Frigate Bay Development Corporation. He said the bar operators were given a recommended opportunity in 2018 to move their businesses to Frigate Bay to continue their operations.
In 2017-2018, when the original relocation effort started between the then owner and those same bars, other spots were offered to them. Somebody from the Frigate Bay Development Corporation, a senior person there, told me recently that one of the bars that is complaining was offered a spot at Frigate Bay. They assigned the spot. They said, we're going to give you a lease here, move from there so the development could happen and come to Frigate Bay. A sign went up, but the sign didn't have the name of the bar. So the person from Frigate Bay Development told me that they went to the person and said, but how come you're moving your bar from Friars Bay and coming to Frigate Bay and changing the name? Don't you have a goodwill in your name and so forth? He said, no, I'm opening up a second bar.
The Attorney General expressed that the developers have legal rights to proceed with their plans and that the affected bar owners can consult with the Ministry of Tourism to get help in identifying alternative locations to continue operating. Meanwhile, the Ritz-Carlton project is expected to bring significant economic benefits to the island, including hundreds of jobs during construction and long-term employment once the resort opens. The luxury resort will feature world-class accommodations, fine dining and spa facilities, aiming to attract high-end travelers and boost the island's global profile as a premier destination. Based on societal feedback, the outcome of the dispute is likely to shape the future of the island's tourism landscape, with some people discussing whether there could be a balance between the promise of an upscale development and the preservation of the popular, vibrant, homegrown beach culture at Friars Bay.
The Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis is mourning following the passing of Sir Edmund Wickham Lawrence, its third Governor-General, who died at the age of 93. Born on February 14, 1932, Sir Edmund served in the role from 2013 to 2015. His significant contributions to the nation's financial landscape combined with his leadership have left a lasting legacy. Sir Edmund was a distinguished economist who returned to St. Kitts in 1970 after earning a degree in economics from the University of London. He founded the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank in 1970. Under his leadership, the bank's assets grew substantially, reaching over US $1 billion and making it the largest local bank in the Eastern Caribbean region. He also established several key financial institutions that formed the National Bank Group of Companies: the National Bank Trust Company in 1972, the National Caribbean Insurance Company in 1973, St. Kitts and Nevis Mortgage and Investment Company in 2001. He was also a founding member of the Caribbean Association of Banks. Sir Edmund managed the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank from 1971 through 1982 and returned as managing director from 1996 until his retirement in 2012. His career in banking and financial services spanned over 40 years. Sir Edmund served as the Federation's third Governor-General, sworn in on January 1, 2013. Before he was appointed Governor-General, he served for several years as the Governor-General's deputy. His distinguished service earned him numerous honors. In 1999, he was made an Officer of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire, In 2009, he received the Companion of the Star of Merit from St. Kitts and Nevis. In 2010, he was appointed a Knight Commander of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George by Queen Elizabeth II for his outstanding work in banking and finance. In 2013, he received the higher honor of Knight Grand Cross of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George. Prince Harry presented him with the insignia for this award in November 2016. Sir Edmund was a devoted family man married to Lady Huldah Lawrence, with whom he had 6 children. He remained active in non-profit organizations even after his retirement, including the Brimstone Hill Fortress National Park Society and Rotary International. Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honourable Dr. Terence Drew, expressed his grief, stating, quote, "It is with deep sadness that I learned of the passing of Sir Edmund Lawrence, former Governor-General of St. Kitts and Nevis. Sir Edmund dedicated his life to uplifting our people, from his remarkable contributions in finance and development to his steady hand as the head of state. He gave so much of himself to the growth and progress of our beloved nation. His vision, humility, and devotion to his country will never be forgotten. On behalf of the government and people of St. Kitts and Nevis, I extend my deepest condolences to his family, friends, and all who knew and loved him. We have lost a true statesman, but his legacy will continue to inspire generations to come." End quote. Premier of Nevis, the Honourable Mark Grantley, shared his condolences on social media. Quote, "Sir Edmund was a renowned banker and has been credited with the rise of the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank to become the premier regional bank in the OECS. He was also a statesman who was appointed as our head of state and did so with dignity. He was a dedicated family man, and I recall joking with him once that all his children were doctors, either medical or PhDs. On behalf of the Nevis Island administration and the people of Nevis, I extend deepest condolences to his family and friends and pray that God will comfort them as they mourn his passing. May his soul rest in eternal peace." Sir Edmund Lawrence's passing marks the end of an era for St. Kitts and Nevis, leaving behind a profound legacy of leadership, innovation, and service. The Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force charged George Carty of New Pond Site, St. Kitts, for the offence of burglary. The offence was committed between 12 a.m. on September 2nd, 2025 and 12 a.m. on September 3rd, 2025. Carty was charged at the Bastille Police Station on September 5th, 2025. The Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force is investigating another robbery in the Federation. The crime was committed at the Coconut Tree Bar and Grill in Dieppe Bay, St. Kitts, during the early morning hours of September 6th, 2025. Melvin Gums and his son Melrick Warner, both of Dieppe Bay, reported that between 12:30 a.m. and 1 a.m., shortly after securing the establishment for the night, they were confronted in the bar's yard by 2 armed masked males. The assailants forced Warner to empty his pockets, stealing a sum of money, and then compelled him to reopen the bar. Once inside, the assailants stole additional cash from the cash pan along with other valuable items. One of the assailants pushed both victims into the bar, causing Mr. Warner to fall to the ground. No physical injuries were reported. Anyone with information on the identity of the assailants or information that can lead to their apprehension is urged to contact the nearest police station or call the Crime Stoppers hotline at 707. The Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force has arrested and charged 3 individuals following the discovery of cannabis at the Charlestown Pier and in Craddock Road, Nevis on September 5th, 2025. While conducting an observation exercise at the Charlestown Pier, officers detected a strong odor of cannabis emanating from Kimo Sancho of Craddock Road, who disembarked the motor vessel Lady B. The officers stopped Sancho and searched him on suspicion of possession of controlled drugs, arms, and ammunition. The search revealed a quantity of cannabis inside his bag. Sancho was arrested and taken into custody at the Charlestown Police Station. Following Sancho's arrest, a search was executed on his premises at Craddock Road. Present during the search were Kurt Garnett Sr. and Kurt Garnett Jr. of Craddock Road. Officers discovered 65 cannabis plants at various stages of maturity growing in flower pots in the yard. The plants were uprooted and seized. Garnett Sr. and Garnett Jr. were taken into custody. The 3 men were charged on September 6, 2025 at the Cotton Ground Police Station with the following. Sancho was charged with possession of cannabis with intent to supply, cultivation of cannabis. Garnett's Sr. and Jr. were both charged with obstruction and battery on police. In regional news,
4 OECS islands joined forces to launch a cybersecurity and cybercrime public awareness campaign. Collaboration between the OECS Commission and the Sasakawa Peace Foundation of Japan led to the first Caribbean regional dialogue under the theme Advancing Resilient Prosperity in the Caribbean. UBEC launches training sessions to strengthen blue economy micro, small, and medium enterprises in St. Lucia. The governments of Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in collaboration with CARICOM Impacts and the OECS Commission, are in the process of launching a coordinated cybersecurity and cybercrime public awareness campaign. Cybercrime can include identity and data theft and targeted financial fraud. Cybersecurity is the act of protecting oneself digitally from these crimes. Officer in charge of the IT unit of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, Inspector Joshua Kami, spoke at the St. Lucia launch towards the end of August. He stressed on the importance of modernizing cybersecurity efforts in the constantly changing landscape of cybercrime.
Let's jump back to 5 years ago, 2020. Our focus was mostly on social media crimes, cyberbullying, impersonation, identity theft, revenge porn, and hacking. And then it only really affected the youth and the young children. Now in 2025, cybercrime has lost its gender identity and it has lost its age identity. Any and everyone can be a victim.
The campaign is supported by the World Bank-funded Caribbean Digital Transformation Project, or CARDTIP. An inaugural launch took place in St. Lucia on August 26, followed by Dominica on August 28, then St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Grenada on September 2nd and September 4th, respectively. Head of the Communications Unit at the OECS Commission, Lovely Anthony, notes the campaign is a push across the 4 islands to raise public understanding of cyber risks and to encourage less risky digital behaviors.
We are living in an era where digital technology touches every aspect of our lives, from education to business, from healthcare to government services. Our economies and societies depend on the integrity and safety of our online systems. Yet, with these opportunities also come new risks. Cybercrime, data theft, misinformation, and online exploitation. These are not distant threats. They are present and real challenges that are facing our communities, our families, and our citizens every day. That is why this campaign is so timely and it is so essential. Its goal is to foster a culture of digital safety and resilience, empowering our people with the knowledge, tools, and habits to protect themselves online. By raising awareness and equipping citizens, businesses, and institutions with good practices, we can collectively reduce vulnerabilities and build stronger, safer digital societies.
Project Manager of the CARDTIP in the Commonwealth of Dominica, Dr. Jermaine J. Japierre, is proud of the work CARDTIP has accomplished on their island, making 100 government services available online.
The Caribbean Digital Transformation Project is not about wiring systems or upgrading hardware. It is about positioning the population to unlocking the future of human living and engagement. It is about ensuring that every citizen, every business, and every community can step confidently into a digital economy.
The campaign will include engagement with national leaders and regional partners and highlight CARDTIP's accomplishments to date. In our next story, the OECS Commission, in collaboration with the Sasakawa Peace Foundation, or SPF, of Japan, successfully convened the first Caribbean Regional Dialogue on August 21 to 22, 2025. The dialogue's theme, Advancing Resilient Prosperity in the Caribbean. Senior government officials, regional organizations, academia, civil society, and the private sector all participated in the 2-day dialogue event. Experiences were exchanged and opportunities explored across 5 key pillars. These included the blue economy, community-based tourism, agriculture and food security, economic development and trade, and climate and disaster risk reduction. Let's take a look at this testimonial video that highlights the thoughts of several participants.
One of the most important things is we are stronger when we are together. and also that resilience is not an option but a necessity now.
One of the main takeaways from today was the importance of regional collaboration. We are able to see that within this room we have many ideas, many scenarios that we're able to learn from regionally, and we can use each other's experiences to help build a better climate resilient region.
Okay, I think this dialogue really provides an opportunity for us to discuss the common issues affecting the environment, and because I have a bias towards fisheries, the marine environment. Certainly, I think it really provided an opportunity to exchange ideas, exchange issues that can really bring some degree of solution to the issues that affect the marine environment. As small island developing states, and as we say, large ocean states, I don't think that we could really operate in a vacuum. I think it provides an opportunity for countries to really come together and deal with the issues that affect them in a very, collaborative way, pulling resources together because we do have limited resources, and therefore coming together will really give us an opportunity so that we could be more efficient and address all the issues in a timely manner.
In our final story, UBEC continues to boost the blue economy in St. Lucia. The OECS-driven World Bank-funded project hosts numerous training sessions from the end of August to October. These training sessions offer education in business registration, setting up business accounts, entrepreneurship, and implementation of standards to micro, small, and medium enterprises in the fisheries, marine tourism, and waste management sectors throughout St. Lucia. The training sessions will be offered both in person and virtually. For more information on the dates and venues of the UBEC training sessions, go to our newsroom at www.oecs.int.
We now bring you these international reports.
194 against 354. The National Assembly has not approved. 194 for, 264 against. The Prime Minister must now tender his resignation to the President.
Well, there we have it. You are with BBC News from Paris, outside the French Parliament. France's Prime Minister has fallen in a vote of confidence. He has lost the confidence of the Parliament building with 194 MPs voting in favour of François Bayrou and 364 MPs voting against. So François Bayrou's government falls. He becomes the second Prime Minister ousted by Parliament in the space of 9 months, and the sixth Prime Minister lost to President Macron. He will now have to tender his resignation to France's President Emmanuel Macron. He is expected to do that tomorrow, and then this country faces yet more political paralysis. Can the President find a new Prime Minister to command the confidence of the Parliament building? Does he dissolve Parliament, leading to snap elections? Or what other path is open to him? This country, the second largest power in the European Union, plunged back into political paralysis at the worst possible time, with wars raging on Europe's borders, with the Trump administration in the White House upending the transatlantic international order, and France now looking increasingly rudderless. So just a reminder, 194 MPs have voted against François Bayrou's government inside Parliament. 364 MPs have voted against it. So François Bayrou's government falls, ousted by a confidence vote. Let me bring in Alexandre Kouchner, a journalist and political analyst here in Paris, who has been with us unpacking this story. Alexandre, this was expected, wasn't it? But it is a very, very big defeat for François Bayrou.
Yeah, the defeat was expected. The numbers are surprising. It means that even from within the central coalition, probably from the Conservatives, Les Républicains, some MPs voted against François Bayrou. This means that within the presidential coalition, the so-called Bloc commun, they're already clear cracks and clear divides, which sort of muddies the water even more. Who can you now trust? Because even from within this own coalition, he didn't have all the votes. Now, is this a surprise? No. Does it bring any solution? No. Now it's on to Emmanuel Macron to make a decision, name a prime minister, or call for snap elections. Then again, it doesn't solve the two main problems at this time. The one is the problem of Emmanuel Macron's doing, a hung parliament. The second is trying to put not an end, but maybe just a dent in the ever-ongoing debt crisis in France.
At least 6 people have been killed and several more wounded in a shooting in Jerusalem. Israeli police say 2 attackers, who they describe as terrorists, opened fire towards a bus stop on the city's northern outskirts. The authorities said both gunmen were killed. Yolande Nell has this report.
Gunfire and panic. Dashcam footage captured the moment when a morning bus commute in Jerusalem turned into a deadly shooting attack. An off-duty Israeli soldier at the scene shot dead 2 suspected gunmen, believed to have come from the occupied West Bank. This is usually a busy junction. It's near to Jewish settlements in East Jerusalem, and Palestinians and Israelis mix on the road. One of the 2 buses that came under direct shots aimed at the driver. Also, 2 bus shelters were attacked as well, absolutely packed with people, and it's still very tense here. Under heavy guard, the Israeli Prime Minister came to see what had happened for himself. Since the start of the Gaza war nearly 2 years ago, Israel's tightened movement restrictions for West Bank Palestinians. Recently, attacks on Israeli civilians have been less common.
These murders, these attacks on all fronts do not deter us. They only increase our determination to complete the missions we have taken upon ourselves in Gaza, in Judea and Samaria, everywhere.
The attack comes at a critical moment during the war in Gaza. The Israeli military has intensified strikes as it prepares to send ground troops into the heart of Gaza City. Israel says it must conquer this last stronghold of Hamas. But there's been global condemnation of the plan, which is deepening the humanitarian crisis. This morning saw more funerals in Gaza, but a glimmer of hope too, after Israel and Hamas said they were weighing Washington's new ideas for a hostage and ceasefire deal. Yolande Nell, BBC News, Jerusalem.
Well, our correspondent in Jerusalem, Wira Davis, told me a little more about today's attack.
As Yolande says, this happened at the height of rush hour. It's a focus point for people coming into Jerusalem, not just from other parts of Israel, but some people as well, some workers from other parts of the country. A lot of people taking buses and taxis, and as we saw from that dramatic taxi footage, there are traffic jams in and around the area. That looked like a normal traffic jam this morning until the shooting ran out. Chaos ensued and people were fleeing for their lives. The last time there was an attack like this was ironically in a very, very nearby area, about a kilometre away from that site, when 2 people were killed a year and a half ago. So it is something that has happened. It's something before. It's something the Israeli government is acutely aware of. The Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, when he arrived on the scene shortly after those 6 people were killed, said that Israel was fighting wars on several fronts, alluding to the fact, of course, that Israel is heavily embroiled in this war in Gaza. There have been several incidents in the occupied West Bank. Indeed, these 2 perpetrators, a young man of 20 and another of 21, thought to have come from villages inside the occupied West Bank, where Israeli troops are, as we speak, trying to locate and find those who may have helped them carry out this attack.
Armed police struggle to hold them back. Thousands of protesters marched towards Nepal's parliament in the capital, Kathmandu, angry over what they say is government corruption and its decision to ban social media platforms, including Facebook, X and YouTube. Police fired tear gas and rubber-coated bullets. There were deaths and injuries.
A while ago, the police fired bullets which missed me but hit a friend who was standing behind me. He was hit in the hand. The firing continues till now from inside. We can still hear the sounds of the firing. My friend who was standing on the road was shot at the head. The police have been firing indiscriminately, targeting above the knee. Are they permitted to do so?
The government says social media users with fake identities have been spreading hate speech, fake news and committing online fraud. The protesters described themselves as a new generation of Nepalis demanding wholesale political change. Some carried placards reading, "Shut down corruption, not social media."
This is a protest by the new generation in Nepal. A new slavery system has been introduced in the nation. Nepali youth are being sold. High-ranking officials are involved in abuse of power.
The government ordered the blocking of more than 20 social media platforms last week, accusing them of missing a deadline to register with the Ministry of Information. The government says it's trying to bring social media in line with Nepali law. The protesters say it's an attempt to stifle freedom of speech and accountability.
In the past few years, the youth of Nepal, they have shown great interest in Nepali politics, which is a new thing in Nepal. And one of the main reasons for this positive change is the amount of conversation that happens on social media regarding the everyday politics of Nepal, and then comes in the growing frustration of the people. So it has been built over the years, and as I see it, and as I sense the pulse of the people, it is censorship and freedom of speech being at cost.
A curfew has been imposed around the Parliament building and some areas in Kathmandu. Charles Stratford, Al Jazeera.
Palestinian engineers work to fix water pipes that have been attacked by Israeli settlers. In the Israeli-occupied West Bank, Palestinian residents report shortages that have left taps in homes dry and farms without irrigation. Ain Samia, a spring near Ramallah, is increasingly surrounded by Jewish Israeli settlements. West Bank Palestinians have long struggled to access water, but they say more numerous settler attacks on scarce sources are worsening the problem. Faris al-Malki, from the Palestinian Public Water Utility in Jerusalem, says they've had to fix these pipes and valves many times after such attacks. And in Ramallah, one of the West Bank's biggest cities, residents are having to rely on public taps. Ziad says she now gets water at home just twice a week. Water is a basic for life. Now we lack it due to the settlers, she says. Across the West Bank, roof tanks to store rainwater or that delivered by truck are a common sight. Ramallah resident Wafiq Salim says if settler attacks continue, there could be a conflict over water. In the first 6 months of the year, the United Nations recorded 62 incidents of Jewish settlers vandalizing water wells, pipelines, irrigation networks, and other water-related West Bank infrastructure. This video shows a settler preventing Palestinians from using water at the natural spring of Ain al-Auja. It was released by Israeli rights group Looking the Occupation in the Eye and verified by Reuters. The United Nations and most world governments consider settlements in the West Bank to be illegal under international law and an obstacle to establishing a future Palestinian state. Karim Jabran is a field research director for the B'Tselem Israeli Rights Monitor.
Today we notice that the agricultural projects in the settlements are thriving. There is an abundance of water, unlimited water for the settlers, but the Palestinian communities are going dry, lacking even drinking water. This all results in expulsion, displacement, and abandonment of the land and real suffering among all sectors of the Palestinian people.
This drone footage shows the dried-up canal through which the Al-Auja spring used to flow. But settlers have diverted it and now swim at the spot. Settler Asher Meth.
This is the first time that I'm here. I was never here before, and it's wonderful to see all these brothers and sisters, all these Jews here. The other people who are here in the neighborhood, but they're here, they're visitors. This is our land.
The Israeli military acknowledged it has received multiple reports of Israeli civilians intentionally damaging water infrastructure, but said no suspects had been identified. Security forces view any damage to infrastructure as a serious matter, it said. The head of an association in the village of Kardela, Mithkal Fakaha, says what many Palestinians believe, that the water issues are part of a rise in settler violence that aims to drive them from the land.
It is literally a catastrophe. Not only do Israelis aim to reduce the water supply, citing natural causes or a lack of rain, but also the issue is a security matter and an economic matter and a systematic one to expel people.
You were listening to the WINN FM 98.9 newscast. Our top stories were:
Saga surrounds the beach bars ordered to relocate as Ritz-Carlton prepares for construction.
St. Kitts and Nevis mourns the loss of former Governor General Sir Edmund Wickham Lawrence. Police charge George Carty for burglary. Robberies continue in the Federation as police investigate Coconut Tree Bar and Grill robbery. 3 men charged in connection with illegal cannabis operation.
4 OECS islands join forces to launch a cybersecurity and cybercrime public awareness campaign. Collaboration between the OECS Commission and the Sasakawa Peace Foundation of Japan led to the first Caribbean regional dialogue under the theme Advancing Resilient Prosperity in the Caribbean. UBEC launches training sessions to strengthen blue economy micro, small and medium enterprises in St. Lucia.
Internationally, French government collapses as MPs vote to oust Prime Minister. Thank you for listening.